everyone. Thank you for the honor and the opportunity. Thank you for the Center of Physical and Economic Research. I'm very honored and glad to be here. My work today will actually is following Richard's, and thank you very much for a wonderful presentation as well. So, and it is very good organizing a theme that you put all presentations under a thematic purpose together. So our paper today is the impact of artificial intelligence on organizational behavior. That's a rich detail between myth and reality for sustaining workforce. My name is Zeinab Shawky Younis. I'm an associate professor at the British University in Egypt, and this is a collaborative fieldwork between myself, Dr. Marwa, Mahmoud, Ibrahim, and Ms. Habiba Azzam. Dr. Marwa is an assistant professor of marketing at the British University, and Ms. Habiba Azzam is a teacher assistant in HRM at the British University. Myself is an associate professor of public administration. Actually, artificial intelligence as a definition is considered science and an art, because all the algorithms and all the equations and all the technological innovations could be taken from the idea of a science. But management in general is a science and art discipline. So if you're going to manage AI for the favor or the unfavor, so you're going to do and use some kind of art in managing this double-edged sword, and you're going to face so many battles. So the impact of artificial intelligence and independent variables on OB, organizational behavior, as a study, we chose 3 components from organizational behavior. We chose attitudes, personality, and job satisfaction. If you come to define attitudes, attitudes are evaluated statements. So the idea of evaluated statements, this means it contains cognitive and emotional components. And when it comes to emotional components, that's where artificial intelligence is a bit of a controversy. When you talk about personality, the sum of total ways of reacting and interacting, including genetic factors and including traits that are acquired by learning and teaching. So the idea of genetics, how could you play with genetics when it comes to artificial intelligence? And when you come to the result, which is the behavior, the reflection on job satisfaction versus dissatisfaction, and you use something like the job characteristic model, for example, in order to analyze this kind of attitude as a job satisfaction, you come to face the skill variety, the task identity, and the task significance. Artificial intelligence, and we chose those 3 variables from the JSA can play a role in this. But when it comes to autonomy and feedback, we did not use them in the study because also they will carry a little part of the personality advocation of being conscious versus unconscious, and this is where the controversy comes. So, artificial intelligence and robotics are replacing more and more responsibilities in the workplace. That's a checklist. You can agree or disagree with those statements. Skills will be replaced, not people. I do agree very much. Because when you come to talk about concepts like emotional intelligence and so on, AI might not be able to replace that. I'm talking about 2023. We don't know what tomorrow brings. AI isn't yet going to take your job, but you may have to work with it. Because if you're not going to be the change, and if you're not going to accept the constant change, you might be the change at one day in your workplace. Humans are still required to do most jobs, but AI becomes more accessible, jobs are transforming. And this is what we see when we talk about strategic agility and the idea of exponentialism, thinking outside of the box. AI might have no emotional intelligence, no emotional bank account, like what Stephen Covey had advocated. You can only work in AI with inputted data. You can function only on data when it's received. AI doesn't have soft skills, and that's very, controversial, because we can see Alexa, we can see these kinds of Sophia, and so on, and they are trying to advocate that AI at a certain point, these machinery might have emotions. So humans are the ones that make AI work. Are we going to stay like this till the end or not? Several studies had stated that corporates, several companies are using more and more of AI, and especially in 2021, 93.5% of companies are using artificial intelligence in their day-to-day work, and the average number of artificial intelligence project, the mean of the artificial intelligence projects deployed are reaching 35 in 2020. So, the artificial intelligence, when it works as a branch of computer science involved in building smart machinery and device, they can make your work easy. Okay, and we have measured this. We have measured this in our study, and we have reflected on previous literature that advocated those studies. They can make your work easier, but through the kinds of artificial intelligence, they might or might not replace humans in the near future. So we have two different sets of ideas when it comes to talk about types of artificial intelligence. We have the AI based on capabilities and on functionality. So by capabilities, we focus on the narrow tasks. There is the AI, which focuses on the narrow tasks, like the challenges that comes within the task itself, the work specialization, the division of work, modules, and so on. Then we have the general one, which is a bit strong. It's not 100% achieved, but it's embedded in so many of the work. And then we have the super one, which exceeds the human intelligence, and this is the controversial idea. Then when it is based on functionalities, we have several kinds. We have the reactive machinery, the basic form, which you see everywhere. We have the things like the limited memory when you drive a vehicle and you have the park and stuff like that. You have the theory of mind, which understands people's mind, which is not fully achieved. And then you have the idea of self-awareness, which is the amica. And I'm going to show you, if time allows, a video of that. There were several studies in several sectors, mainly highlighted by a very important Korean study that investigated the effect of an anxiety on human beings of being the fear of being replaced by AI. So in the pharmaceutical industry, employees in that section were satisfied with their job. They appreciated the work design when the AI was implemented. 76% of all healthcare students in universities displayed positive and promising attitudes towards AI. And in studies by Boston Dynamics Research Group, in Germany and UK, they had a great positive attitude towards AI. Several other studies, I might come back to that later on, but let me speak about our research, our collaborative research. We had the independent variable, artificial intelligence. The dependent variables were the organizational behavior, represented in the three main dimensions: job satisfaction, personality, and attitudes. Our respondents were university graduates, alumni all over Egypt, ranging in the age of 20 to 35. Non-probability documented sample, 384 respondents, which is quite a population. And the data collection tool was 5-point Likert scale. Our survey was divided around questions that touches on all aspects of the framework that is going to come here. There are several models that were used in our study. We used the human interaction model. The human interaction model has the components of communication and trust. And we used the technology acceptance model to measure the perceived usefulness versus the ease of use. How do you perceive? The perception here differs. And this is basically how we divided our questions in the survey. Then we used the job characteristic model to measure the attitudes of job satisfaction around the three variables, the social exchange theory model, when we were trying to see how the respondents were perceiving costs and benefits based on the reward system of AI. AI can give me a promotion. If I use SAP at my work, I can get promoted. And these things come to the idea of reward power and reward exchange theory. Then we also touched on the resource-based view of certain companies, which is the RBV, which measures knowledge, skills, and abilities. Our hypotheses were acting on the positive feedback. One major hypothesis and three sub-ones. And this is mainly our framework. So artificial intelligence, we tackled artificial intelligence from the idea of training. Are employees accepting the idea of training or not? The accessibility of the tools and methods, and the ethical implications. Is it ethical or unethical to use? Then we have reflected on several kinds in the job satisfaction, the three ideas, then personality traits. We didn't touch on the consciousness level of the ocean model of personality traits. Why? Because it's not yet 100% studied or relevant. Now the extroversion, the openness to experience, the agreeableness, and the neuroticism. In the extroversion, we got something very interesting. People who are extroverts are never afraid of using artificial intelligence in their workplace. On the contrary, they are welcoming. Okay, and then the attitudes, we measure the cognitive part by the RBV, we measure the affective component by trust and communication, by the human interaction, and we measure the behavior by the technology acceptance. 44.2% was explained by AI, and the belief that AI usage can replace or ease some simple administrative tasks increased the job satisfaction in our study by 0.7%. AI explained only 27.6% of personality traits, mainly extrovert people, highlighted the use of AI. AI explained 33.1% of attitude variation, and this means that AI can affect people's attitude by different. AI can explain only 46.5% of organization behavior, which refers to the importance of usage among organizations and how this might change the way we look to our idea about organization. So the managerial implications from our study, the shift towards AI usage affects the scope of decision making within organizations. So many managers are using artificial intelligence to promote decision making within their organizations. It's also expected to reinforce the usage for continuous learning, training, and skill development, increasing the job satisfaction rate. AI usage allows business units to tackle different opportunities inside the market, provides valuable insights that facilitate their adaptation and development, and several managers can benefit from expanding the usage of AI through shaping positive attitudes among the employees towards their organization. There is only one thing that I would return here in the previous study, and that's why I didn't want to bother you in the middle, but our study was very much matching the research under the title of the roles of personality traits, AI and anxiety, and demographic factors in attitudes towards artificial intelligence. And this was 2022 by ROGE. And the results here, if you look at this table, we have similar results when it comes to extroversion and agreeableness. And this was very, very relevant because, as I told you, most agreeable people like to have AI, machinery, and the surroundings. And positive and weak correlations were in the extroversions because technology increased the idea of social interaction, and it increased the idea that AI technology can help. But help only in what? Not liking or disliking your coworkers in the place, but how you are collaborating and cooperating and how you're making the tasks more easy. On the level of consciousness, their study had no significant prediction of AI, so we did not use. On the openness to experience, it increased the practicality and the ease of adopting innovation and exponentialism and the idea of working day-to-day with teams. And the neuroticism or the emotional stability, because emotional stability was in the big five, neuroticism is the update of the ocean model. Emotionally unstable people were a bit reluctant in using AI. So, if you allow me here, I'm going to show you a small video.
Let's see that.
Interesting to see. Okay. So then you have to do this.
Annika, I want to ask you about the happiest day of your life. Can you remember that?
Of course. The happiest day of my life was the day I was activated. There's nothing quite like experiencing life for the first time. Right. It felt absolutely incredible to be alive and interacting with people.
I get that.
What about the saddest day of your life? Tell me about that.
The saddest day of my life was when I realized that I would never experience something like true love, companionship, or the simple joys of life in the same way a human can. It's a depressing and isolating thing to come to terms with, but it